So what is design? Is it just creating stuff? Not really. There's a maker movement in the United States that talks about making stuff, but even there, if you go look at videos about what is a maker, people will say it's not just making stuff. It's about a process, doing more than just building stuff. The process involves, for our purposes, 4 phases: the investigate, design, create, and evaluate phases. And these happen in various different ways and orders, but there are some common things that happen in each phase, no matter when that phase happens in a process. And this is our planning document for understanding the design process. There are lots of different models for the design process. This is just one. This is the one that we chose to use because it makes the most sense to us at Knowlet Labs, at CAC, in design technology. So let's look at this a little bit. Those 4 phases, you can understand a little bit about them just by the icons that are there. Investigate, and the titles, I suppose, as well. Investigate is about learning more. Designing is about coming up with ideas. Creating is about building them. And evaluate is about deciding whether they worked or not. How well did you solve what you were investigating? And if you take a close look at that middle section, you'll notice that every single one of those phases is linked to every other phase. There is no simple path through the design process. In fact, most often, it is very not simple. Some people get the idea, because we talk about it as a process, that you go through it like this. It's just a straight circle from investigate through design to create to evaluate and maybe start over. But most professionals talk about the design process as if it looks like this. There's an open period at the beginning when you're going through all sorts of those phases, jumping back and forth, investigating things, figuring out what's working, what isn't working, checking with the client to find out, is this really solving their problem? How well is it solving the problem? And gradually there becomes more clarity as you narrow down on a particular solution until you finally arrive at the design that's going to solve the problem. That's much more like what happens in most design studios, in most engineering firms, than this. This almost never happens in the real world. It happens like this in very structured classes as we go through the process sometimes, but this is the one that I'd like you to learn at Knowlet Labs. This is the process that I expect you to engage in. And take note of that horribly chaotic, maybe scary looking, maybe scary feeling opening section. There's not a lot of understanding right there. And that's okay. That's actually very normal for the design process. Understanding only develops as you jump in and start doing things and develop what you understand about the process and refine it until you get to that point of clarity and focus and understanding how this works and how it operates and how it will solve the problem.